I have heard the name of Mr. Xiao Yan for a long time. I wonder if I can teach today? When Xiao Yan heard his name, his face sank suddenly, and he thought to himself, he has been set up by someone. The attic suddenly became quiet, because someone announced that Xiao Yan was going to learn from Yang Hao, the third commander of the Black Annihilation Army. Both of these people are the best of the younger generation. One is the three leaders of the ancient clan, and the other is the champion of the Danhui. Everyone is very curious who of them is better. Xiao Yan and the others were also taken aback for a moment. Seeing Xiao Yan's face was not good, they immediately understood that someone was deliberately looking for trouble. The other party preemptively attacked in public. If Xiao Yan lost, the people of the ancient clan would definitely talk about it, and even involve Xun'er. Xiao Yan took a deep breath, put down the teacup, and said lightly, "It just so happens that I don't want to be entangled in trouble all the time. It would be nice if I could take this opportunity to make an example. Since he wants to be this chicken, then I will accept it." After speaking, he looked coldly at Yang Hao, a man in Xingyi upstairs. Yang Hao smiled when he saw Xiao Yan's gaze, not afraid at all. He is the pinnacle of 5-star Dozuan strength. Although Xiao Yan is also a 5-star Dozuan, he feels that he has never lost in front of an opponent of the same level. The fifth commander next to him frowned and said, "Yang Hao, don't mess around. Be careful to be known by the elders." Yang Hao said lightly, "It's just a matter of learning from each other. Our ancient tribe was originally martial, so we will be friends with martial arts. Don't worry, I won't embarrass him too much. Of course he has to know each other." As soon as the voice fell, Yang Hao flashed to the stone platform, looked at Xiao Yan with a smile, and said, "Mr. Xiao Yan, I have heard so much about the famous. Can you teach me today?" Everyone in the attic turned their eyes to Xiao Yan and whispered. They didn't expect that Xiao Yan had reached the level of an 8-pin pharmacist at such a young age. Xiao Yan's face remained calm when he heard this, and he got up and said, "Since the three commanders are so sincere, it's hard for me to refuse." Yang Hao was slightly taken aback when he saw that Xiao Yan didn't make excuses to shirk, but the smile on his face became stronger. He made a gesture of invitation to Xiao Yan, but no one noticed the meaning in his eyes when he lowered his head. Xiao Yan and the others did not stop Xiao Yan. They had great confidence in him. Although Yang Hao is the pinnacle of 5-star Dozuan, he does not pose a threat to Xiao Yan now. Xiao Yan walked to the opposite side of Yang Hao, and Yang Hao said, "He deserves to be the champion of the Danhui, with extraordinary courage." Xiao Yan just said coldly, "Please." Yang Hao laughed loudly, and his vindictiveness broke out in an instant, and he rushed toward Xiao Yan with a flash of his figure, his claws sharp, tearing the space apart. Xiao Yan stepped back slightly, avoiding the attack with clever footwork. Yang Hao sneered and used the dragon and snake footwork. His speed increased sharply, and his palm wind became more ferocious. Xiao Yan relied on his powerful soul power to avoid every blow accurately. The more Yang Hao fought, the more solemn he became, and he found that he couldn't hurt Xiao Yan at all. Unwilling to be reconciled, he began to use the Imperial Seal technique. Xiao Yan easily interrupted his Inju and blasted him back with a punch. Yang Hao was so angry that he used the Forte Seal to try to suppress Xiao Yan with powerful fighting skills. But Xiao Yan closed his eyes, as if waiting for something. Just as Yang Hao was about to launch an attack, the stone platform suddenly burst, and a pillar of magma fire rose into the sky, directly hitting Yang Hao's legs. Yang Hao spurted out a mouthful of blood, was hit by a pillar of fire, and finally hit the stone pillar, and the stone pillar exploded. The entire attic calmed down in an instant, and everyone was stunned. Xiao Yan just bowed his hands slightly, smiled, and said, "I have given in." The three commanders. After Yang Hao landed, when he heard this, another mouthful of blood spurted out. He never thought that he would be beaten so badly by Xiao Yan at the peak of his dignified 5-star fighting respect. On the pavilion, Ling Quan and the 5 commanders were stunned as they watched Yang Hao struggling in the rubble. Yang Hao was the pinnacle of 5-star fighting, and he also mastered many powerful fighting skills, but he was beaten so badly by Xiao Yan. Ling Chuanqi's fists were clenched tightly, and he couldn't figure out how Xiao Yan had become so strong. The fifth commander sighed and said, Xiao Yan's strength may be about the same as their eldest brother. Ling Chuan's face became even more ugly when he heard it. Yang Hao crawled out of the gravel, his body scorched, his clothes in tatters, and he was vomiting blood. He looked at Xiao Yan, his eyes flushed with anger, and shouted, I don't accept it. Rushed to Xiao Yan again. Everyone thinks he is too unassuming. Xiao Yan watched Yang Hao rush over, not panicking at all, and directly punched him in the air. Yang Hao was beaten and vomited blood again, knocking over a lot of tables and chairs. In a corner of the attic, four people were chatting. They have flame marks on their foreheads and look very special. One of the frivolous men said, Yang Hao is an idiot. Another big man with thick eyebrows said, Xiao Yan has a different fire and is very vindictive. It is normal for Yang Hao to lose to him. The third man in white said, Xiao Yan's soul power is also very strong. Yang Hao is too arrogant. There was a woman in red next to her, wearing a veil, who looked beautiful, but she was not interested in their chat. The man in white complained that she always ignored them, but the woman in red suddenly said, he is interested in Xiao Yan's group. The men in white rolled their eyes helplessly. The woman in red said again, it's very lively here today. It seems that the people of the ancient tribe don't like Xiao Yan. Yang Hao was beaten by Xiao Yan and was covered in blood, ready to rush again. Suddenly a cold voice sounded. Yang Hao? When Yang Hao heard this, his body was awake for a while, and he stopped there with his fists tightly clenched. A man in silver armor appeared and said coldly, you have lost all the faces of the ancient tribe. Yang Hao was a little scared and shouted, second brother. Ling Chuan's eyes lit up when he saw this person, and he hurriedly ran over and yelled respectfully. This person is Lin Chen, the second leader of the Black Annihilation Army. He stared at Xiao Yan, sneered and said, Xiao Yan, you played very well, right? Xiao Yan said lightly, it's just a discussion. Lin Chen snorted coldly and said, then I'll try. Xiao Yan smiled and said, come on. Lin Chen was about to do something, when suddenly an old man appeared. He cursed Lin Chen angrily. You are messing around. How can you embarrass the guests in public? Lin Chen didn't dare to speak, so he could only leave helplessly and warn Xiao Yan in a low voice. If you know each other, leave the ancient clan quickly, otherwise you'll regret it. Xiao Yan just sneered when he heard it. The old man's name was Gu Sun. He said to Xiao Yan, young people are impulsive. You may encounter a lot of trouble in the future. Be prepared. Xiao Yan didn't speak, just hugged his fists. Gu Sun also left. The people around were a little disappointed. They originally thought they could see a big war, but it ended like this. They could only discuss the battle just now in a low voice, and kept looking at Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan didn't care either, and was about to go back, when he suddenly felt the strange fire in his body jump. He looked along the induction and found a red-clothed woman wearing a veil with a flame mark on her brow. Xiao Yan's heart moved, thinking of the Yan clan that Lao Yao had said. He thought, he is from the Yan clan. When Xiao Yan and the red-dressed woman Huiji looked at each other, the flames in their eyes flowed, and the surrounding air became hot. Suddenly, a cloud of flames exploded in the space between the two of them, burning the tables and chairs next to them to ashes. Xiao Yan was taken aback. This woman's strange fire is not easy. Xiao Yixian and the others hurriedly came over and asked Xiao Yan what was going on. Xiao Yan shook his head, glanced to Huiji, and thought to himself, this woman may be from the Yan clan. He doesn't want to sin against the powerful power of the Yan clan for the sake of different fires. So they took the little Dr. Fairy and left the tavern. The white-robed man next to Huiji asked him how he felt. Huiji said, Xiao Yan's alien fire is very strong. She wants to find a chance to fight him to see who has a stronger alien fire. The white-robed man said, Xiao Yan is from the Xiao clan. They didn't expect that the almost abandoned bloodline of the Xiao clan could produce such a powerful figure. Another frivolous man said, the ancient clan and the Xiao clan used to have a good relationship, but that was when the Xiao clan was strong. Now some people in the ancient clan even want to forcibly open Xiao Xian's tomb. The man in the white robe said. He is more concerned about the heavenly tomb that will be opened once in 20 years. I don't know if anyone can reach the end this time. They discussed for a while and left. On the way back to the room between Xiao Yan and Xiao Yixin said, most of the 8 leaders of the ancient clan are hostile to Xiao Yan. If it weren't for the appearance of the ancient clan elders today, Lin Chen might have done something to him. Xiao Yan said that he was not afraid of trouble, and the only thing he was a little jealous of was the great commander, who hadn't shown up yet. What Xiao Yan is more worried about is the 4 great capitals. They are the true geniuses of the younger generation of the ancient race. They may become the Black Annihilation King, and the Black Annihilation King must reach at least the semi-holy level. Xiao Yan also felt a little pressure when he heard the words Bansheng, but he did not intend to back down. Whether it was for the reputation of Xingxue Pavilion or the Xiao family, some troubles could not be avoided. Suddenly, Xiao Yan stopped and sensed 3 black-robed figures at the end of the forest path ahead. The little Dr. Fairy and the others also noticed it, and their vindictive spirits started to run in an instant. The leading black-robed man said, "You're Xiao Yan of the Xiao clan." Xiao Yan asked who he was. The black-robed man smiled and said, Xiao Yan should be very impressed with them. Xiao Yan suddenly remembered that these people were from the Soul Hall, and his face immediately became gloomy. The black-robed man said, they just came to see what the Xiao clan has become now, and they don't want to interfere in the task of catching Xiao Yan. The little Dr. Fairy sneered and directly started. His vindictive long whip pierced through the space and hit the black-robed man. The other 2 black-robed men also shot. 2 dark chains and vindictive long whips collided together, and the surrounding trees were instantly shaken into powder. The leading black-robed man said, he just came to advise Xiao Yan not to fight against the Soul clan. Xiao Yan said coldly, don't worry, one day you will swallow this sentence by yourself. The black-robed man said, Xiao Yan's ending may be similar to Xiao Xian's. Then the figure became illusory, and when he finally disappeared, he left a sentence. Remember my name, Soul Cliff. My ancestor once seriously injured your ancestor Xiao Xian. Maybe it will be me who ends you this time. This is destiny. You can't escape. After the black-robed man disappeared, Xiao Yan returned to the wing blankly, but his fists were clenched in his sleeves, and his eyes flashed fiercely. Although Xiao Yan and the others didn't see it, they could feel Xiao Yan's murderous intent. Xiao Yan thought to himself, since the debt owed by your ancestors, you can pay it back. There is Xiao Xian's tomb in the ancient world, so let you be buried here. 3 days passed quickly. Xiao Yan and the others stayed in the manor, and Lin Chen and the others did not show up again. Xiao Yan knew that Elder Gu Sun's reprimand was only temporary, and trouble would come sooner or later. However, Xiao Yan is more concerned about Soul Cliff now. From Soul Cliff's words, Xiao Yan guessed that his status in the Soul clan is not low, and there are 2 strong guards of the 7-star Dozuan, which is not something ordinary people can have. Soul Cliff also mentioned the fall of Xiao Xian, which made Xiao Yan's murderous intent even heavier. On the morning of the 3rd day, the ancient holy city became lively, because the gate of the ancient street was about to open. Xiao Yan and the others were also ready to go, following the crowd to a huge lake in the center of the city. The surroundings of the lake are already full of people, and there are still many ancient warriors guarding the lake. Elder Gu Sun reminded everyone that the ancient world is very big, so be careful when you enter and don't break in. Otherwise you may lose your way and even fall into cracks in the space. He also mentioned that there is a member of the ancient tribe in the ancient world, and he hopes that everyone will not disturb them. Xiao Yan and His Holiness Tianhua talked about the ancient ethnic groups. His Holiness Tianhua said that these ethnic groups are the bottom of the ancient ethnic groups, but they are also the source of fresh blood for the ancient ethnic groups. Xiao Yan understood. No wonder there are so many young geniuses in the ancient race. Suddenly, the lake began to ripple, and a terrifying spatial fluctuation spread. Then a bright beam of light shot out from the bottom of the lake and connected to the energy shield of the city. The space was torn apart, and a black space gate appeared. Elder Gu Sun announced, The gate of the ancient world has been opened, and everyone can enter. The crowd began to enter the gate of space one after another, and Xiao Yan and the others were also about to enter. But Lin Chen suddenly stopped Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan ignored him and continued to walk forward, but the two bumped into each other. Although the sound was not loud, there were big ripples in the lake. Xiao Yan's shoulders suddenly shook, and a burst of strength hit Lin Chen. Lin Chen's face turned pale. He was repelled several steps, and blood even flowed from the corners of his mouth. Xiao Yan only glanced at him faintly and continued to walk towards the gate of space. Lin Chen gritted his teeth with anger and threatened Xiao Yan in a low voice. "Someone in the ancient world will clean him up." Xiao Yan just smiled and said, "You can take care of yourself first." Then he walked into the door of space and disappeared into the fluctuations of space. Lin Chen was so angry that he endured the pain and forced the flame out of his body and sprayed it into the lake. He thought bitterly in his heart, "Xiao Yan, I underestimated you, but don't think about being arrogant in my ancient tribe. Someone in the ancient world will deal with you. I'm waiting for you to crawl out like a dead dog." Finally, he didn't forget to add a sentence. "Our Lady, it's not worthy of a humble person like you."